welcome to the podcast, Falcon Paladin. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much. It is good to be here today on another wonderful podcast day. Indeed, indeed.
It is. It's not too hot, but the sun's out, nice blue skies, a couple of clouds, but it's a lovely day today. Not
Can't win them all, but for the middle of the summertime, it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah. It is currently only 79 degrees, which, given that yesterday it was like 95, I'll take.
Yeah, no kidding. 70 anything is glorious in the middle of summer.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Great. Well, wonderful. Yeah, it's cold here. It is currently like 3 degrees below freezing, so,
Nice.
it's officially winter at this point. Though we haven't had that snow dump yet.
There's still time.
I expect one before Christmas. Whether or not we have snow on the ground at Christmas, I don't know. But yeah.
Fair enough.
So yeah, we've got a Warhammer book to talk about. I started a 1,300-page Stormlight Archive book as well.
Surely you've had that finished by now.
I finished. Name of the book is Echoes of Eternity. I finished Echoes of Eternity on Thursday night.
Yep.
So I got through that fine, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So almost 4 days. Not enough time to read 1,300 pages, it turns out.
How far into it are you, though?
Well, this is going to be depressing.
Because if you say 400, I'm like, well, we got another book to do this week.
300.
Okay, that's
like 305.
Yeah, I don't feel like you're getting that finished and then reading the 700-page book of The End and the Death, Volume 1.
No, this is definitely a week off from the Horus Heresy and the Siege of Terra, so that's okay.
That's okay.
Give it some time to breathe. This was a really, Echoes of Eternity is really sad and depressing. And taking a week off of that, I think, is a pretty positive thing.
I just tried to type in my own Twitch chat in Streamlabs OBS, and it asked me to sign in. I assume I'm streaming to the right channel, though, so I'm signed in with that.
I guess we could check real fast. I didn't actually pull up your channel yet. I usually do that. Yeah, we're here.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
here, you're here.
Shit,
I'm
what's my
ginormous
password?
because I forgot to zoom out before the...
You can do that
pod.
now
Oh,
if you
well.
want.
I don't think I can. They get free... Remember, it disconnects me from the Discord video?
It'll take a minute, but, it's fine. You can do it. I believe in you.
Okay, we'll do it. Come on, NVIDIA Broadcast. You got this. It didn't kick me out of Discord. Hold on.
Oh my god, this SMS
Oh, it will, though.
two-factor?
I need to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Boop.
Oh, there he goes. So as I attempt to sign into something I've already signed in on, I don't understand how this happens. But thank you, Craig the Shoe Shiner, for pointing it out.
Hey, what's up? First Falcon Paladin podcast. Rad. How you doing, Craig?
Oh, hey, you're back.
I'm not. My
No?
video is gone. I
Oh,
don't go anywhere. Just my video.
Oh, just your video. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And broadcast. Okay. So it's like
Take this time to eat
piece
a
of
donut.
crap software, man. It's like, oh no, something else is using the camera. Turn that off and we'll be good. And I turn off what's using the camera, and it's like, no, it still can't. And I have to force quit the program and come back in. And it's like, oh, okay, now we're good. Just can't on the fly figure it out. It's the worst. Glad you shined a bunch of shoes today, Craig. That donut looks amazing.
Thank you. I was on Uber Eats looking for lunch, and Krispy Kreme had a buy one get one free, and spend $25 get $10 off. I was like, so I'm getting 8 donuts for the price of 4, and a drink $10 cheaper than I should. I feel like this is a scam
That is a scam.
because delivery was like $2 as well. I'm like, why would I not?
Right. Yeah,
Well-
they're doing a...
I mean, why would I not when I don't have a car or a motorbike to go and get donuts?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. You still don't have your motorbike?
No, I'm waiting on parts to be delivered.
Ah, I'm back. Hooray.
Yay, welcome back.
I didn't know you had Krispy Kreme. How long have you had Krispy Kreme?
Decades?
Forever?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember when we first got them. It was only like, I want to say 12, 13 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe even a little longer. But the first Krispy Kreme, they were like advertising it with like this van that would drive around, and instead of having like a normal van engine, they'd put a jet engine in it, taking up by the whole back of the van.
Cool, cool. Uh-huh.
So, it sounded like a jet taking off every time it drove away. And, well, it was eye-catching, so,
And ear catching. Yeah.
yeah.
That's amazing. Huh. Yeah, Krispy Kreme showed up to my college town in spring of 2001. So that's when Krispy Kreme showed up in Utah, I think. Yeah. It's a pretty big deal. I mean, I think I went and I was like, okay, these are pretty good, but like I've never had a Krispy Kreme craving before.
Same.
I can't remember the last time I had one. I just don't think about it at all.
I mean, here's the thing. If they were giving me a bunch of money off and a bunch of free donuts, I would not have bothered. Like,
Right.
I would never go, I really want a donut. I might walk past the Krispy Kreme and be like, I'll pick up a thick shake. But given how infrequently I walk past the Krispy Kreme, I don't think that happens very often.
No, Krispy Kreme has shakes.
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme. Donuts. Yep, I know you have donuts. Drinks. Hold on.
Mhm.
They expanded their menu since the last time I went there. They have the Grinch Who Stole Christmas donuts. Adorable. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, like mocha lattes, sure. Coffees I get for a donut shop. Yes. Menu. Donuts. Lattes. Oh, chillers.
Chillers.
Whatever a chiller is. Let's find out what a chiller is.
I mean, here, a Krispy
Strawberry
Kreme...
chiller, lemonade chiller.
Okay, that's interesting. Lemonade. Here, a Krispy Kreme, despite being an overseas brand, is closer to being a knockoff Donut King, which is basically a donut shop that also does like hot dogs and shakes and milkshakes, thick shakes, ice cream, that kind of stuff.
What other hot food do they have? Just hot dogs?
Yeah, just hot dogs. Hot dogs and hot donuts.
Yeah.
Ice donuts that are covered in like lollies and candy and stuff for kids, and they're in the shape of dinosaurs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Fancy stuff. Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I
they
think
have any
I-
hot. Yeah, just hot
Yeah,
dogs.
like Craig,
Oh.
I think I prefer more local donut shops over the international chains. But,
Never mind. They apparently do a good toasty as well.
Oh, nice. Okay, I was gonna say it's really weird to have one hot food option.
Right.
It's like as long as you have the stuff for it, you might as well offer other things. But anyway,
Well, that's the interesting thing. Like a ham and cheese toasty is on loaf bread, right? A hot dog's in a bun.
yep,
Those aren't the same thing.
no, but maybe they cook them on the same like grill type thingamajig.
Toasties are pressed. You don't press a hot dog.
You can.
Okay, that's a good point. You can.
All right. Anyway, donuts are great. Now I want a donut. I'm
Yeah.
doing a podcast instead. Gosh darn it.
Well,
Not-
too bad.
Not a good time. No.
All right.
We don't have any StarCraft 2 talk. Oh, I guess kind of do. I mean, the new patch is out. We knew that. Home Story Cup did it. I didn't realize they brought back old maps.
You didn't realize
In
like
the
Abyssal Reef
1v1
was in
ladder.
there?
Abyssal Reef
Reef's
is
in
in
there.
there. I loaded up this game from Home Story Cup and I was like, no. Abyssal Reef? What year is it?
Right.
That was in the first map pool for StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Because I remember the very first LOTV game that I cast, one of my subs sent me one that they just played on ladder, and it was Abyssal Reef.
Right.
And it was like, oh, it's Legacy of the Void. There's this disruptor unit. It's so cool. And everything dies. It floats to the top of the screen. What is this? My mind was blown. But that was like 2015, man. That was a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
Bringing it back. Also, the Neon Violet Square. What's the name of the map?
I don't know the nuance. No.
Neon Violet something. Anyway, that's an old map too that I missed that one.
Okay.
Anyway, they've got some old maps. They've got some new maps in there. I thought Home Story Cup had just like thrown Abyssal Reef into the map pool for the fun of it.
No, it's back.
Yeah, it's totally back. Anyway, that was fun. I cast Clem off racing as Protoss against Gumio.
Oh, yes.
One of his games from the final. That was very fun. That's going to post tomorrow, I think.
Okay.
And then I posted a Clem versus Cyril game from Home Story Cup where Cyril actually got the Hydra boost.
Oh, yeah. Did he use it?
And I just, yep. And it's so underwhelming. I just laugh. I just laugh at it. Like, he had these Hydras that kind of wanted to get in there and take down some Liberators. And he sure zoomed in there for 0.38 of a second.
Uh-huh. And then he died
And
to
he
liberate it?
And then he killed the Liberators. But, like, he could have walked there, too, and it would have been fine. So, whatever. I don't know, man. I still think it's a crappy upgrade.
Yeah, I'm not exactly a huge fan of it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. So, in other StarCraft news, I saw in Discord that Hyper One is quitting the scene because basically the new patch is shit and ESL keeps picking old maps and bad maps instead of new maps for the map pool, like Abyssal Reef.
GSL?
No,
You say
ESL. ESL.
ESL picks bad maps.
Yes, because they're
Was
the
he
ones
specifically complaining about Abyssal Reef? I didn't see that.
Well, no,
I
but
would have given him a piece of my mind.
he does not explicitly call out Abyssal Reef, but he can keep picking garbage, non-finalist maps and old, outdated ladder maps. If a map from 8 years ago isn't considered old and outdated, I don't know what is. I think it's a good map, right? I like Abyssal Reef, but like, it is an old map.
Yeah, it is an old map. That's an it's an unimpeachable opinion to have, is that it's an old map.
Yeah.
So he says, I'm dropping out of grassroots competitive SC2 except for Evo. Oh, Pig said bye. That's nice of Pig. What else did he say? Something about...
The balance is handled by a committee of self-interested pros with no central design direction.
Where? Oh, is that like further? Oh, yeah. So you click on this thing and it's like a...
Yeah, it's a tweet
manifesto.
Yeah.
They do not select TLMC finalists for the competitive map pool. They pick garbage non-finalist maps. He's been mad about not having his maps picked for a long time.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't have a lot of interaction with Hyper One. The last time I did, I offered to sponsor the. He was trying to work out the name of a map that he was submitting. I was like, "I'll pay you money to call it my name, like Summicron's map or something."
Summicron map.
Yeah. Which he respectfully declined, and very politely too, but a wasted opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I think that would have been awesome. He complains that Blizzard keeps breaking replays, which is a fair concern. I hate that too, but that's been going on for years.
It's been going on for years, and it still remains, I think...
And it always sucks.
It always sucks. It always sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Fair enough, Hyper One. You do you, man. Bonk. I like his tweet from 2 weeks ago. A week ago. It's just a week ago. It's fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. Huh. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. StarCraft is StarCraft. We complain about the balance. We complain about the balance council and what they're doing and what they're not doing, and complain about replays being broken. So, like, I'm with him on a lot of stuff, but I don't know. It's StarCraft. I can't quit it. So this is me. This is what I do.
Yeah.
That's about it. But yeah, I mean, back to Cyril using the Hydra boost thing. It really felt like he was using it just because it was new. And he kind of wanted to highlight it and show it off for good or for bad, right?
Yeah.
Highlight to the viewers and, you know, the balance council, how this looks in a competitive scene. And I don't know. I need to go back and watch the cast. Like, I'm wondering if the people that actually cast it live were really trying to talk it up. Like, oh, did you see that boost? That's the reason those Liberators died, because I disagree wholeheartedly. But, you know, if they want to talk it up, they can do that. That's their prerogative.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's StarCraft 2.
There was another tournament, the Hup Cup. I think it's sponsored by Hupsire.
Oh, yeah.
$3,000 prize pool, so not nothing. Nice little
Uh-huh.
community event by the sounds of it. Uh, Protoss won. Protoss won a tournament.
Hey, who was it?
Max Packs. Max Packs beating Clem though in the finals.
As soon as Max Pax decides to show up for an actual premier tournament, great. Until then, I don't care.
Sarah
He's
was not in this
incredible.
tournament.
That's fine. Clem was there. I'm down. Beating Clem's impressive.
Sure. Absolutely.
Especially from a PvT perspective, like that's really good. But dude, like honestly, Max Pack, stop teasing us. Like, stop giving Protoss all of this hope that there's this Protoss player out there who can win a premier tournament. He's gonna play in the next one. We know it, man. He's gonna show up this time. Come on, bro, believe. He just never is going to. He's just gonna keep doing this until he quits or dies or gets old or something. I don't know, man.
Yeah. One of the above.
That's it. That's where I landed.
I figured.
How about you?
No, yeah, it's about the same. Yep.
Okay.
My only hope is that maybe Clem takes some tips from like how to actually play a PvT, because if Clem's swapping to Protoss for TVTs,
Yeah.
good learning opportunity, I guess.
Totally. And I mean, man, that Gumio game, the longer it went on, the more it felt like Clem just was like running out of options.
Right.
And I could almost feel Clem being like, yeah, so this is what it's like.
Did you watch the first one he did? Not in the finals, like the first time he versed, because it's on
No.
Abyssal Reef, and there's just like 7 times where there's a Colossus that's just undefended walking across the map or something, and it's just like, what are you doing here? Get it to the army. Warp in something near it, please, Clem, and it just dies. So
Like, Colossus are not solo units. They don't run around by themselves doing things, ever. Especially not one.
No.
Yeah. Well, he did. So I'm casting this game on Abyssal Reef also against Gumio as Protoss Clem. And I'm like, boy, Gumio still has a lot of Marauders. It was like over 50% Marauders in this Marine Marauder comp, right? And Clem finally gets his Robo Bay, and I'm like, all right, Disruptors out of this thing. Let's go. And he fires up Colossus. And I'm like, the dude has all of the Marauders known to mankind. And then guess what happened? The Marauders showed up, killed all of the Colossus, and a base died. And I'm like,
yeah.
I just feel like this is stuff he should know. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, in the other game, he does eventually get what are they? Oh, you said the name of it. I can't remember the name of the unit now. The balls.
Disruptors, yeah.
Disruptors, thank you. But here's the problem: the Disruptors don't kill Marauders anymore. Like, you have to 2-shot them.
Ooh, it's a good point.
Right, and he had a really bad habit of F2ing them into Liberator zones. So,
So that's extra bad.
yeah.
That's fair, I guess. Blah. Poor Protoss. Just play like Max Pax, man.
Yeah, I guess.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah. All right, is that StarCraft?
Okay.
Done?
Yeah, we'll feel bad about Protoss. Now we'll feel bad about everyone.
What do you mean? People get happy endings in this book.
They do not. Not a
Latara?
single happy ending.
Latara Saren, she gets
Definitely not her. Especially not her.
Khan has a happy ending.
Also, no.
No, not really.
No.
Shivan Khan, he's in the book very briefly near the end of it. Firing on traitor ships, that feels like a happy ending for him. I mean, his Primarch probably just died, but you know.
Yeah, but he gets to shoot back at the bad guys for the first time in a while. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, the skits, they get a happy ending. T,
The who? The
The-
Skits?
Yeah, the Skitaria.
Skitari. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
I'm
no.
like, did I miss something?
So, okay, we're talking about Echoes of Eternity by Aaron Dembski-Bowden, and I feel like this is a really bold move from him to be like, okay, there's a lot of spinning plates here. Like, he doesn't even have Euphrates Keeler or Basilia Foe from the last couple books, right? He's like, what if 40% of the book was introducing characters for, like, a paragraph and then killing them, you know?
Right. Dude. So they do this in these books, right? They're like, here is a random princeps for a Titan. We're going to learn about them and what makes them tick and their relationship with their crew. And then we're going to spend the whole book with them and it's going to be awesome. And I'm like, all right. And Aaron Dembski-Bowden's like, here is a princeps of a Titan. Here's how they feel about their crew. Here are their hopes and dreams, and they're dead. And I'm like, wow, all right. And then he's like, here's another soldier. And I'm like, wait a second, Aaron. Hold on.
Hold on, I'm beginning to see a pattern. And here's the thing. I'm not mad at the guy for killing them. I'm mad that he makes me care about them in such a short frame.
Yes.
One of the Skitari, Magna Delta 8v8, I think, is like, okay, the traders are offering us to just leave, but the Primarch, Sanguinius, is like, you have to stay. He's giving this like speech about how he doesn't want to be here. This isn't the future he wanted. How can I say no to him? And you get like a paragraph and a half to work with, like, oh, it's a Skitari's birthday. And even though they're in the middle of the most devastating war of all time ever, the squad mate's still able to find them humble gifts like a pebble from Olympus Mons or a handful of loose ammo. And it's like, oh my god, I love this. And then, you know, they basically move away from that character and like, and everybody on the wall died. Yeah.
Right. It's like, enjoy.
Yeah.
Because they've done this before. Like, previous Horus Heresy authors are like, here's a tank commander. You get 4 seconds with them. You get the perspective of a man on the ground, and they all die. And it's like, okay, great. I get it. I get the perspective of the people on the ground. I don't really care about them because I didn't get enough time with them to care. But it did help me get the perspective of the people on the ground and the small folk who aren't, you know, eternal, legendary Legion people.
Right.
But yeah, this is different. This is like reaching into your heart and going, no, 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 no. And you're like, ow, Aaron Dembski-Bowden, why did you do that? And he's like, that's what I do in this book. And then he does it again. And by the page 400, you're like, oh, you're just wrung out mess of humanity. And I told Samacron this already, but I was like Thursday of last week, and I'm like, what? You feel so down. I'm like sad for some reason. What's going on? And then I look down at the book I'm reading. I'm like, oh, right. It seriously affected my mood.
Yeah.
Oh,
It'll
he's
do
too
that.
good. He's too powerful. I don't like it.
Yeah, he's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
All I can really say. This, and like,
Accomplish what he set out to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just thinking of the woman who was like a prisoner, but she like was incarcerated for crime she didn't commit that her family forced to do, who managed to run away and go AWOL from like 2 different regiments to like kill a person, to like assume their position as like a scribe, to get caught because their math was off, to being press gang to get into a 3rd regiment. And there's so many, like, there's more than you could think there would be. Like, it seems, yeah, it just doesn't seem like it should work, but each of them are great. Even, I think my favorite one is the trooper who first meets Transactor Y, like T, and he's like dying from the radiation that she emits from her holy weapon, right?
Right.
And he's dying, and he's like, T, just tell me something. Are you pretty under there? And then it goes through a short rundown of describing just how horrific the Mechanicus that grows its people. And she's like, yeah.
And he goes, I knew it. Yeah. Their whole relationship's incredible. And then it's like, and then
He gets
some
eaten.
thousand suns showed up and impaled him
Well,
alive and ate him.
yeah, some world eater. I know. Well,
World eater. No, it was Emperor's Children. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's who it was. Yeah.
Emperor's Children ate him.
And it's
Oh.
like, thankfully, he was dead by the time they cooked him. And it's like, well, that's a small favor, I suppose. We'll take those. Yeah. And then, throughout this book, okay, so Salman Khan tells me I should have known this, but it's like, let's spend a lot of time in the origins of the Blood
Angels.
Blood Angels. Yeah. Yeah, of the Blood Angels. And I was like, this now? Siege of Terra, like book 8. Why am I doing a huge background for an entire legion now?
Yeah.
I'm still not entirely sure why this is here.
Probably because the actual book that we read does not cover the events of like Sanguinius meeting his legion.
Right. So you think the Black Council got together and they're like, shit, we didn't explain the entire background of the Blood Angels. And they're like, we're on book 8 of the Siege of Terra. It's like, squish it in there, Aaron. You got space. And he's like, okay.
I think Aaron Dembski-Bowden was like, hey guys, I have an idea. And someone said, let him cook. Right?
Oh, it was his idea. Okay.
I think so. Yeah, because it works. It's so good. It's really like, maybe here's what happened. He wrote that as like a short story, and they're like, we kind of don't want to publish a short story. It's so near the end. Is there any way you can like just jam it into the book and like
just weave it in there seamlessly?
Yeah. And he's like, no worries.
Yeah, it's good. Because, like, I mean, we've met this Amit Blood Angel before. He's been around.
Yeah.
People know him. He's a legendary, Blood Angel.
Yeah.
And then it's like they dragged him from Old Earth, some horrible cannibalistic techno clan, and turned him into a proto-Astartes. And he's still around today. And it's like, oh, okay. Wow. He's been around for a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Well, I don't think a proto-Astartes is the right word. Like, he is just an Astartes as far as I'm aware.
No. But except it talks about the method they use to turn him into Astartes as, like, crude. Like, they're just hacking him open with saws and, like, chucking extra organs in there and being like, I sure hope he lives. And it's like 1 out of 100 survived, and he's one of those 100. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like how they usually do this.
I mean, they got more refined, right? But
yeah,
he still is an Astartes. Like, he's still, like, biologically no different to any of the others. Like, he produces gene seed the same way they do. It's not like he's incompatible with, like, how they do it now,
So he's not, like, Thunder Warriors era. He's definitely post-Thunder Warriors.
Not necessarily. Okay. So,
There's overlap?
Yeah, there's overlap. So some of the Astartes legions fought during the Unification Wars in very limited numbers.
Okay.
Usually as like tests, but he could overlap with Thunder Warriors. Yeah. Okay. Given that he's from Terra, almost certainly, right? It's either very near the end or directly overlapped. So.
Yeah, is he the oldest surviving legionary that we know of? Because I was thinking back through everything in the Horus Heresy that I've read, and I don't know if anybody else goes back to that time period. Like, there's the story of the Thunder Warriors who have persisted to the current day. Like, I get those guys, but I think they're all dead now. So, I remember that book.
It's a good book. So, there would definitely be other Space Marines from Terra who are still alive.
Yeah.
But
as far as named ones go?
Possibly. I'm trying to think. I mean, I know that up until, like, the Heresy kicks off, the old man, the really old, the half-herd from the Lunar Wolves. I can't remember. Yeah. He was from Terra. Right?
So okay, that's another option. Anyway,
but he's dead, so.
Yes. Amit's really, really old.
And
he has to kill his best friend twice, which isn't great.
No.
Yeah.
Pretty not great.
Pretty not great.
Pretty not great.
So we get his backstory, and how the Revenant, they're called, the Legion before Sanguinius is found and he becomes their Primarch. Yeah, I mean they're straight up Legion. They're they got orders to pacify planets and bring them into compliance and everything, and they do. They just eat a lot of the people they bring into compliance.
Yeah, so there's a small bit that they like very quickly talk about, which is also how they would scrape the bottom of the barrel for mutants for recruits to replenish their
Mm.
numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was another thing that like on Terra they would like eat all the dead, right? They would just go on like these massive feasts, and they would got a really bad reputation. So as they were like slowly starting to move away from Terra, they were thrown at really horrible wars to be like,
Yeah.
they won't survive this, or like they'll be, the numbers will be reduced. We don't have to worry about them as much.
Yeah.
Except a quirk of the Blood Angels gene seed is you can take just about any mutated human and turn them into an Astartes, and it'll like fix their mutations. They'll come out looking like an angel of Sanguinius, because they all look
Yeah.
very similar. And so they were thrown into like these shithole war zones and would come out at full strength, and that really upset people, right?
Right. Right.
Couple that with like rituals of eating your own dead to maintain their memories and assuming their identities, where like their Legion
Yeah.
Master is the same guy for decades, century, and it's just because they keep eating the brain of the old one and like assuming his identity.
Yep. Which it's not exactly immortality, but it's a
No,
form thereof, I
it's
suppose.
this form of, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then you told me too that every legionary has the ability to eat the brain matter of a living thing and like pick up on their memories and the information in there.
Yep.
Which feature, huh?
Yep.
Not a
Feature.
bug.
Not a bug. Feature.
Gross. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's one of the things because they always talk about Astartes being monsters, right? We get that perspective, especially from regular humans, quite a bit. And I was always like, they're big, and they've got extra organs and stuff, and like they're really good at killing. But like, I don't know. But other like they eat the brains of their enemies to gain intel, and I'm like, all right, monster, we crossed the line. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the line.
Yeah, that's funny. And then there's this great scene we talked about too, where Sanguinius is finally found, and he presents himself to his legion. And they're like, "We met a Primarch before. He told us to stop eating people. What is your deal?"
Right.
And Sanguinius has been thinking about this forever. He's like, what do I do when I first meet my sons? How's this going to work? And then he's finally just like, okay, here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn everybody's name first off the bat. I'm just going to ask everybody's name. We're going to learn them all. I'm going to make them feel like individuals and not like, just a nameless, faceless mob. And then I will pledge myself to them. Because usually how this goes is they pledge themselves to the Primarch. They'll follow him. They'll make oaths and everything. And Sanguinius is like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to do it that way. Let's flip this on its head.
Sanguinius kind of finds them as like a group of child soldiers who everyone like treated with suspicion. Like he never, like no one stood up for his legion. And it's like, yeah, maybe they're a little barbaric, a little monstrous, but nobody's ever really been on their side in those debates. It's just them. Like
Yeah.
even High Command was like, no, we're gonna split them up, and like Sanguinius spends 3 years with the Lunar Wolves learning how to be a Primarch before like they can gather the Legion back together so he can meet them even. And so he's like, no, I'm gonna be in your corner, guys. I got you, fam. And that's kind of how I read that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a heartwarming moment for sure. Yeah.
So speaking of when Sanguinius gets found, this book came out before the Custodes Codex recently, because this book was last year or the year before, and the Codex was this year. The Codex that introduced female Custodes and that further. But there is a scene where Sanguinius is flying through the air, and there's like the Emperor's golden ship, and it describes I've got the extract here. These men and women were plated in the same gold as the ship, rendered upon their bodies with painstaking artistry. And people at the time would be like, oh, the sound that just refers to the Silent Sisters. But now it's looking back, oh, was Aaron Dembski-Bowden slipping in female custodies into the law a year and a half ago?
Maybe he was.
Maybe. And see how that didn't ruin everything, guys?
No, it's not ruined.
Yeah.
Nice job, Aaron.
Yep.
All right, so anyways, that happens, and I was like, learning a lot about the Blood Angels here. Which, again, 40k people probably know already, but I didn't, because I haven't read many 40ks about Blood Angels. Anyway.
No.
Yeah, so that's good. And then, yeah, we get Amit. So here's another thing. The order in which Amit has his fights with Cairn.
Cargos.
Cargos.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
His best friend from the World Eaters.
Yep.
Like, they run up against each other on Terra, and they fight, and Amit wins. And he's not willing to engage with him. He won't banter with the World Eater, and it bugs him. But then he dies. And I'm like, all right, good enough. And then he's like, here's all this crazy amount of backstory between these two, and all the stuff that the adventures they went on, and they fought to the death in the gladiatorial pits as a team, and they were victorious, and they're bros. And I'm like, this would have been good to know about 100 pages ago. But then, thanks to the fact that World Eaters resurrect, he gets another chance.
Because it turns out the World Eater was best friends with a bullshit word bearer's chaplain who probably did some dark voodoo bullshit to resurrect him.
Right. That was another question I had.
Yeah.
Because they're talking, like, crazy bullshit chaplain guy is talking to the World Eater, and he's like, talking about, just basically hinting that if you accept the power of the demons, you cannot die, right?
Right.
But then he never does. Korag never, in the book, accepts the Eightfold Path, or whatever they call it.
He does, I think, at, like, the final battle, right before he's fighting,
Amit?
Amit. He does say, skulls for the Skull Throne, if that's what it'll take, or something, right? Like, he does belligerently...
That's all you have to do?
Yeah, he says the words. It's fine.
So you just pledge himself to Khorne, and he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, also, Khorne isn't the kind of guy who really cares a whole lot for pledges. Like, he doesn't really care about where the blood flows, either, as we see at the ending.
Yeah.
So...
But if that was the case, why didn't he just give the power to every World Eater and call it good? You know what I mean?
Maybe.
They're out there killing stuff anyway. It's good for him.
Maybe they all do have a little bit of power.
Yeah, maybe they do.
Yeah,
Anywho,
it is.
So Emmett wins that fight too, and it meant more, I think, because I had the backstory this time.
Right. It felt like a little bit more compelling when you, especially when in the pits on the Conqueror, where we get a great Latara Saren being like a really sassy boss bitch, and she's like, "Look, diplomats from Terra, I'm taking your little hotel and I'm turning it into a gladiatorial pit. If you don't like that, you can take your petition, shove it up your ass, do a little merry jig, and I will swear to the Emperor as my witness, tear down the pit. You can have your hotel back." And they're like,
Right.
It's good to see Lotara Saren as the human she was.
Yeah. Yes, because I mean, she's maybe the most kick-ass baseline human in the Horus Heresy.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Yeah, she's the best.
And then Sanguinius is there for their fight, though, in the gladiatorial pit, and he's, "I'm not mad, I'm disappointed in you," kind of a dad at that moment, and has Amit eat the brain of the guy he kills to be like, "Look, you have to live with, like, his memories, you know? I don't stop you from doing this, I disapprove, but I don't stop you, and there's going to be consequences." So, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it all came about because his World Eater buddy accidentally killed a guy in a supposed to be non-fatal gladiatorial combat fight.
Right, yeah.
But he killed him by accident. He didn't feel bad about it at all.
And laughed, because they were like, "Get an apothecary," and he's like, "Huh, I'm an apothecary."
Yeah. But then he's like, "What did you want me to do?" Like,
Right.
I couldn't leave the arena because we're specifically locked in there.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't go get my stuff. I couldn't save him anyway.
Yeah, he, could have used his fingernails to retract bone shards from his brain. That'll go well.
Uh-huh.
It does seem like having apothecaries, like Psyche is with the butcher's nail, just doesn't work very well. you know? Seems like a bad idea. I mean, giving the butcher's nail to anyone is a bad idea. But apothecaries and Psyche is, I think, the Horus Heresy shown us, maybe a poor choice.
Yeah. There's this great scene, I think early on, where Cargos, he just keeps losing track of time on Terra. He's just in this, like, butchering haze for days and weeks on end. Who knows how long it is between these bouts of lucidity, right?
Right.
And he has a vision that some of his brothers are calling for an apothecary because he needs to harvest the gene seeds from fallen world eaters.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to do it, and he realizes that all of his equipment is smashed or missing.
Right.
Because he's just been rampaging mindlessly for who knows how long. And he feels guilty about that. He's like, oh, I'm supposed to, this is an important responsibility that I have, and I've screwed it up.
And
then it's like, but it was a vision, it's fine. And I'm like, oh, okay.
well,
You think so? I think it was a vision.
I don't think it was a vision because like he's like, okay, I don't have my Nathesium, but I can use my knife. It's bloody at work, but it's fine. And then he looks down at the like containers that he's got, and like they're all cracked and broken,
or missing.
or missing. And he's like, shit, apothecaries have been killed for being like failing in this duty.
Yeah.
And he goes to turn up and tell his brothers, and his brothers are just like lost their nails, and like they had enough presence of mind to call for an apothecary, but they couldn't stay to watch the work because like the nails were driving them, and so
right.
he's feeling awful that he can't like continue on the legacy of one of his brothers through the gene seed, but also at the same time is realizing the Legion doesn't care anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. As a whole.
Oh, right.
Like, they're just out here to murder and blood for the blood god, and that's all as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's tons of good stuff in here. And then we get a lot of land, a lot of Arkan land.
Yeah, Arkan land talking to Zephon is really good, and like weirdly because Arkan land is a very like self-interested character, and he's like not remotely afraid to be self-interested, but there's the conversation they have on the wall where Zephon's like, I want you to fight with my serfs to like, keep them alive. And he finally gets that it's not an act for Arkan. Like, Zephon's like, oh, he really does hate the Space Marines and the Primarch. He refuses to call them by their names. And he just has to, like, have a man-to-man with him and be like, if I find out that you've run away, I'm going to come kill you myself.
Right. Good stuff. Then there's a lot of talk about how Zephon's entire mood has changed. Like, his personality has completely shifted since his last bout in stasis and getting rebuilt. Because his serfs, Arkan land calls them slaves because they're slaves.
Right. They, like, there's a flashback.
They're like...
They think they're slaves, but they're told not to use that word because reasons.
And right, but no, there's that little, school essay the 12-year-old writes about his job and his family's job, and he's like, yeah, we can't do anything else. If we were given a choice, most of us would probably keep doing it. But we don't have the choice. Therefore, we are slaves, right?
Yep.
But my point is about Zephon is that they are terrified of him. Like, there is a long history of him abusing them, mistreating them, not giving a shit about them, seeing them as objects rather than humans. He comes back this time, and he's, like, considerate, and he notices things about them, and, like, apologizes, and they are freaking out. Like, what is going on? And even Arkan land notices it. He's like, you are not as angry all the time and mean as you used to be. And then he goes... And then we don't go any further into that. And I'm like, what are you thinking, Arkan land? I'm in your head a lot of this book. Give me your theories, old man.
You think he gets brain damage? Like, they talk about he might have brain...
It?
I don't think so. I think...
it feels like it's more story relevant than that.
I think it's he's been humbled, right? Like when he lost the ability to fight and got it back, he gained like a measure of appreciation, and then he, in theory, saves a woman on like the wall when he gets blown up and put into stasis. And I think when he comes out of that, he's immediately confronted by the fact that his legion has left all of these terminally wounded space marines just to die because they can't hold the ground. And it's like, my legion
Yeah.
would never do that. That's not what's happening. And he's like, oh, he's forced to be like confront the reality that like demons got in here, ate their way out of people, and he is marching across the corpses of children, and his legion is gone.
Yeah,
And
I get that.
I think there's humbled from his original abilities losing his limbs and his cybernetics not working, saving a woman and then seeing like the reality of the war he has now slept through has given him some time to be reflectful on his subs and like how grateful he is for their bravery, especially like coming down there to wake him up.
Yeah, which
I
is
think,
their job. But yeah,
well, it is, but like
they're
if
not
he,
doing it out of the kindness of their heart exactly.
well, I feel like they are. I feel like they still love their master because like when one of them's a child, they keep going to these flashbacks where like his dad, to prepare him for service, would take him to like the sculptures that the Blood Angels make and be like, look, they are all deeply human on the inside still. And
Yeah.
here is one who's lost his ability to do that. Like he used to play the piano and he can't do that now.
And the 12-year-old's like, I went into a room where some music that Zephon had made was in, and it sucked. I didn't like listening to it, and I left. And I'm like, ooh, brutal. That was great. I really enjoyed that. That whole little school essay the kid is writing was fantastic. I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
Anyway, I mean, yeah, I think that's part of it.
I think when he's dead, it's not really their job anymore to do that, you know?
Yeah, but Ark and Land shows up and goes, hey, it's your job to take care of the Space Marine. I'm going to bring him back. Come with me. What are they going to do?
Like,
Right?
leave. They can say no to him. He's not
Just
their
die
boss.
with everybody else.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing: the fact is that they like their master. Like he's not. He doesn't beat them. He's rude to them. But like he's also a space marine. Like
They
they
are
get that.
extremely uncomfortable with him when he actually apologizes.
Yeah,
They do
because
not know
that is.
what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's
I mean,
not wild, but
there's
like
emotional abuse. There's not just physical abuse.
sure, but like that's the job in their mind. That's the life. Like
Yeah.
they know they're going to be possibly emotionally abused by this demi angel, right? But they still think that if given the choice, they'd still do it. And you think that's like out of fear?
Yeah. I mean, it's all they know, right? They're
Well, I
born
mean,
into this life, so
yeah, but some of them were born on Baal, right? And that would be like they would know of Sanguinius, but pre Legion.
yeah, some,
Some,
some, some.
some.
Anywho, I don't know, because it really seemed like he was a berserker, man. Like
Yeah.
the 12-year-old talks about seeing some of the combat vids of Zephon out on the field, and it's like,
The sorrow
yeah,
bringer. The
he's
bringer of sorrow.
he's an yes, bringer of sorrow. He's basically a world eater. He gets out there, he gets the blood rage, and he is unstoppable, right? And he's not that anymore. He talks about that in combat. He's cool. He's collected. He keeps his mind. He's smart about things. He doesn't have the rage powering him.
Yeah,
And it just, I don't know. It's just a lot. It's a lot to change about a person.
maybe.
And I think you're right. I think a lot of it, he was humbled. He went through he died. He's been through a lot.
Right.
I get all that. But I don't know. I just wonder if there was something else going on. I wondered if Land had like swapped out his amygdala for somebody else's. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure. I mean, he
I
does
wouldn't
say
put it past him.
he does say he uses like rare dark age technology to like stimulate healing or something, and it's like, oh, maybe it
Yeah.
regrew part of his brain that was missing.
Like the empathy part of his brain is bad.
Maybe.
Yeah. And there's a good moment too where he meets the woman whose life he saved on the wall. Where he died. And I was like, that's a little awkward. Because like he told her she couldn't be there, right? She's being all inquisitorial and she's trying to be like, tell me your story. And he's like, this is incredibly dangerous. You idiot, get out of here. And she's like, no. And then they both get blown up and he dies saving her life. And it's like, ooh, brutal. Like, she cannot feel good about that. And then it turns out he's not dead after all. And that's extra weird now, because now you have to be, thanks for saving my life. Sorry I was such an ass before, you know? Anyway, it's a good scene.
Yeah, I mean, Inquisitors don't say sorry, but like,
She's not exactly an Inquisitor.
No, but she's not exactly sorry, and like, she's also at the very end, she's like, yeah, may the God Emperor look down on you, and he's like, huh? And he's like, oh, but she said it in a tone that would brook no argument. And I'm like, that's an Inquisitor.
Yeah, absolutely. Fair.
Yeah. So I did not know this from the other books, because most of the time Zephon has like a jump pack that he like uses, and he's like flying around, but he's actually of the Destroyer squads, right? Which so the only reason you pick up on it is I think someone mentions it, but when he's getting woken up, his weapon bearer thrall he describes it, have my sword and my pistols, plural, and that's. I made a joke about that the last time Destroyers came up, which was the scary thing about them is that they have 2 pistols instead of 1. Right? And that's why the Khan doesn't like having them, because they're supposed to look after like rad weaponry and like all the environmental destroying stuff. That's why the White Scouts don't like them, because they love nature.
Right.
But practically they have rad grenades and 2 pistols. And it's like, oh, he's of the Destroyer host. Okay.
Tracks what we know about him from before, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe he has been so far away from all of the rad grenades and all that kind of stuff that like his internal radiation has cooled down, and now he's a nice person. Like,
right.
He was just radioactively itchy for the last century.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much in this book.
Yeah.
Like the whole story of the heretical titans trying to get
up
inside
the wall.
Another set of the walls. And they have to climb this really hazardous, rocky terrain to get up there, and they're not really built to do this at all. Flat ground is kind of what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And how this one Titan crew like starts falling back, and they're like, "Fuck!
Fire the Ursus Claw."
Yeah, they harpoon another Titan, kill it to survive.
Yeah, I love the description that you give, because again, you're gonna get like 4 seconds of someone else's perspective, and it's like, and the Titan in front of them was being surrounded by its cohort of tech priests and stuff who looked up and saw their goddess had just gotten a spear in the spine. It's like, oh, that's a brutal way to put it.
And they're like, people are mad at us, but they can't really do anything about it because we're all on this stupid mountain we're trying to climb right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so fun. Yeah, that's good stuff. And then we have the Primarch fights.
Yeah. Vulcan versus Magnus.
Yeah, Vulcan and Magnus. Which, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of breezed through a lot of that fight because it was Magnus just throwing illusory bullshit at Vulcan for like 20 pages, and I was like, I don't care.
I'm not gonna lie, I had about 2 hours left on the audiobook, and I was like, I'm gonna go lay on the couch where it's air conditioned and just listen to this. I have a really weird issue at my desk. It faces east. Right now I'm looking dead east into a window, and when the sun comes up from about 7:30 to 9:30, there's just a sun pointed at my face. Unusable. So I'm like, okay, can't use my PC, can't play games. I'm going to go lay somewhere else where it's air conditioned. And I'm going to listen to my audiobook. And Magnus and Vulcan were having their little fight, and I may have drifted off a little bit and woke back up when it was ended.
Yeah. Because here's the fight. Magnus uses illusory stuff to try to fool Vulcan and trick him.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually gets tired of it and kills Vulcan. But guess what? Vulcan lives.
Right.
So then he respawns, and he kills him again, and he respawns, and he kills him again, and he respawns. And then Magnus runs out of magic power? Magnus is trying to, like, undo what the Emperor is doing, and that saps all of his strength, and then Vulcan smashes him in the head, and he dies. I was a little fuzzy on the details there.
Yeah, so basically Magnus is spending a lot of his effort trying to bring down the Emperor's telephasic wards, right?
Yeah.
Which is what's keeping the demons at bay. It's why Angron can't get in. And then, he has to, like, also contend with fighting a Primarch, and Vulcan's kind of a dick to fight because he can't die.
Right.
And so I guess, yeah, it saps some of his strength. They eventually have, like, a brother-to-brother conversation about, like, the little novella that we read, where it's like, look, to you, the Emperor was offering you a legion. To me, I saw a shard of your soul come in and beg to be saved, and then, like, spit on any attempt to do, like, you just wouldn't accept any kind of help. And it's like, he said he'd destroy my legion. I couldn't do that. Could you do that? And it's like, yeah, but my legion aren't, like, warp-tainted dicks, you know? And again, we still get more perspectives on, like, was Magnus right or wrong to do nothing at the Siege of Prospero when the wolves came? Like,
Right.
and it's we've covered the events of that, like, in 3 different books, and each time has been, one from Magnus's perspective, one from Russ's, and now one from, like, Vulcan's as a third party outsider. And it's interesting to cover every time. It's really, I don't know if it's compelling because it just is, or if it's because it's Aaron Dembski-Bowden doing it.
Right.
And before it was Graham McNeil, and they're both fantastic writers. So,
Totally.
but eventually, Magnus, like, uses all of his magic to, like, understand and unmake Vulcan's biology, and
Right.
make him explode on an atomic level,
But not all the way.
but not all the way because you can't kill him. And again, I woke up during this bit from my nap. And I vaguely recall this being, like, them hinting that maybe Magnus gets in and works out, like, oh, here's how you undo your perpetualness on a biological level. Like, he's so deep in the genome of Vulcan, that's what he's undoing. So he explodes in, he's gonna heal, like, once, but that's it. Like, that's what he's undoing here.
Okay.
He
So
thought
they
it would kill him,
effectively-
but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they take each other out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, Vulcan's still alive. He's now, like, a skeleton, basically, and he's slowly walking back to the Emperor.
Right.
But this, I think what they're saying is this could be his last life. Like, he's now a...
Like what they're doing with Grammaticus.
Yeah, which who also did not touch on in this book. No Grammaticus. Or,
No perpetuals. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I was, like, waiting for them to show up, but not really. No.
Nope.
Huh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Again, Magnus is a demon prince. I don't
Yep.
think hitting him with a hammer can take him out forever.
Nope.
Yeah.
Sure
So
can't.
that's kind of the problem with these fights. Like,
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know how many of them know you can't really permanently kill them anymore. You can only sort of kill them for a bit. But it's like, okay, Warhammer is an objective-based game, so we're just stopping Magnus from doing his objective, and that's technically a success here. And in the context of, like, this is a series of books over, like, one giant battle, and we're slowly, like, basically killing off enemy leaders one by one in a book, but the enemy horde is being described as a horde instead of an army, is slowly moving into lost, like, loyal territory.
yeah.
And killing Magnus or, like, Vulcan and losing Jagatai is just, like, the playing pieces on the board getting ticked off as best they can.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think it works. I'm
Yeah,
I'm not
totally.
unhappy with these fights, even though I know some of these characters can't die. Like, I know Khan gets back up after Sigismund butchers him, and he's maybe having hallucinations of Lotara on the bridge. And, like, he's in a fugue state, maybe that's why he doesn't respond. But, like, Lotara thinks she's Lotara and just is thinking Khan's the vision, but maybe she's the vision that Khan's having. I don't know.
Oh, we
Yeah.
get to the point where Lotara says, I don't like addressing my shades because it just upsets them and eventually they go away anyway.
Mm.
So I figured that's what Karn was doing. He's just like, if you don't interact with the ghosts, they go away and you don't upset them and it's easier.
Well, yeah. So that's the thing. There's two Lotaras. One is now a wraith of the woman she used to be, and one is now a cornate monstrosity bound to her chair to like fly the Conqueror for all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
So, like, she's not raised to the level of, like, Demon Prince.
no, she's
She's just
warp
run-of-the-mill
fig.
abomination.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
She-
That's fun.
Yeah, it's horrific.
Poor Lotara.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we get the entire book is the perspective of Shade Ghost Lotara, right?
Yeah.
She thinks she's Lotara. We think she's Lotara because we are not showing anything different.
Right.
And she's having these doubts, right? She's looking down at Terra, going, "Even if we win, like, what have we done to Terra?"
And she's spying on like a hololithic meeting that all the lawyers have, and she's like, "Man, look at them! Like they're not bent over with fear that they're losing everything. They're stalwart heroes. I kind of wish I was with them in this moment. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like okay, she's having doubts about her loyalties. She's like concerned that her crew are dying because they haven't had any water for forever, which."
Right.
These ships, as far as I'm aware, are supposed to be like large enough to be self-sufficient as well. It's like, okay, but why aren't you recycling water? Is it blood coming out? That seems like a problem.
Probably.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
She pukes early in the book, and to her horror, there are two severed human fingers
Yeah.
in the puke, and she's like, "That's not real. It's probably an illusion. Okay, bye."
I hope that's an illusion.
Yeah.
And like, she has a servitor to help her dress in her quarters that apparently, while she was sleeping and she entirely slept through, screamed until it died. You know.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I guess I
she's-
slept through that.
She keeps trying to use the biometric like hand door opener for her quarters, and it's not recognizing it at all. And she's like, "That piece of crap ship, nothing's working anymore." And that's the first time I was like, "What's
Right.
going on here exactly?" Yeah,
Nice little clue that wraiths don't really have hands to push to scanners.
right.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and eventually the door opened, but probably just because the machine spirit was like, "Fine, I'll allow it." But again, I love the concept of the machine spirit having its own will in Warhammer. It's always one of my favorite things when they talk about that.
I like
Yeah,
that too.
and so then finally she comes to terms with and she's been trying to meet with Horus, but he refuses to talk to her. And I'm like, that's a dick move. And then it's like, oh right, she's a ghost. That's why he doesn't want to talk to her at all. I get
Right.
it.
Well, Horus also doesn't want to talk to anyone. He's kind of
That's extra true. Yeah.
he's like still thinking that his equerry is Malagast. You know, he's
Yeah,
been dead
that's
for
not
ages.
great.
Like, is it he doesn't want to talk to her because she's a ghost? Is it he doesn't want to talk to her because she's a ghost and has called him several times at this point? Or is it
Right.
because he's not really all there either? Or probably a combination of all three.
Well, his equerry takes her calls, which is hilarious.
Right.
Does he not know? Because Horus knows. Horus is the first person to be straight up like, "You're not Lotara," and
Yeah.
hangs up. And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "You should probably think about that a little more," but she does not. She does not let that thought take root in her head at all. And then finally, when she comes to terms with it, the Lotara abomination's like, "Yeah, I basically consider you the part of the weak part of me, right? The one that has doubts, the one that has concerns, the one that looks back. And like, I've excised all that from me. All I care about is the war and the death and the destruction. And I'm down with all of this now.
Yeah.
And you're going to fade away, and I'm better for it." And I was like, that's really sad. Bad times.
Yeah, it's pretty not great.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's like fan art of what she's turned into.
I imagine there might be.
Yeah, I found some, but it doesn't quite look quite like how I imagined. It looks like she's just still her sat on a chair, but has an evil grin.
Lame.
Yeah.
She's an abomination.
Yeah, she's an abomination. She just looks
Yeah.
monstrous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
also get an Angron Sanguinius fight.
Right. How
Yep.
did you feel about the fight?
Again, it just felt like both Primarchs kind of took each other out, at least temporarily, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're just
I mean,
trying to simplify the chessboard a little bit before things get really big.
Sanguinius is still on his feet. He has been like stabbed through the
Mm,
abdomen, but he is
by
still
a magic sword that
that
eats the souls of the people that it kills.
didn't kill him though, so nothing to munch on. Okay. Look, Sanguinius is up and walking about in the next book, so
Okay, fine. I mean,
yeah, it is. Again, it's a narrowing of the board.
yeah.
What's his name? I was gonna call him Magnus, but it's not. It's Angron. Angron is flying around trying to get in through this telephasic world, and he can see lesser demons slipping in through the gaps. And he's being commanded by like a voice in his head, and he's like, "I don't know who this is." And it's like, "Oh, it's Horus, that puppet." Like even he's aware that Horus is being hollowed out.
Yeah. He's like the three separate powers that are now puppeting Horus's body.
Four.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And like, I remember reading this thinking like, where's this going? That like Horus is talking to him, and the key thing is that at the end of like their fight, he purposefully takes a stab from Sanguinius's spear so he can pull
Yeah.
himself closer to like stab him right back. But Sanguinius does the same thing, and Horus is like, "No, dude, you gotta let him go. You gotta let him go, or he's about to do something really awful." And possibly in like one of my favorite moments in the entire siege is just when Sanguinius finally gets his hand wrapped around the cables that are his brain, Angron, and he will spend the next 10,000 years denying it ever happened, said no and begged, please don't. You know?
Right. Yanked out his dreads, man. Right
Yeah.
out of his head. Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's good to know that those are his weakness, I guess. That you can rip the butcher's nail out of his head and just
Yeah,
kill it.
but good luck doing it if you're not a Primarch,
Right.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember that when Angron got his new model for 40k, because they like were like, here, you can now play Angron in 40k again. Someone did the math on like how many just regular guardsmen you would need to kill him,
Uh-huh.
and it's like 200 and something. Like he can kill in like a 5 turns before he dies. He can kill somewhere around like 200 guardsmen. So you need like a little bit more than that, and you can kill him. The problem is when he kills, he like accrues blood tokens, and then when he
Yeah.
dies, if you have 13 of them, you can just bring him back to life.
Right.
Yeah. So you need a lot of guardsmen, but people with flashlights can kill him.
Yeah.
Yep,
Good enough.
good enough. You don't
Yeah,
need to be a
and that
pirate.
reminds me of Freddy Keeler figuring out how many guardsmen it takes to take down a random Astartes,
Oh
right?
right, yeah, 2 companies
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. Just math it out. That's all you got to do. There's a lot of people running around
Yeah.
during in the 40K.
Yeah, it's the Imperium's most plentiful resource, warm bodies.
Yep. Ugh.
Yeah.
Right. So Angron is out temporarily.
He's out of the siege, so that's yeah.
Oh, longer than I thought. Okay. Okay. So Mortarion is gone for a while.
Yeah. Okay. So this is weird. He is
Like, death
he-
is not death.
right.
Continue.
No. Like I'm just gonna talk in terms of the siege. He's
Okay.
dead. He's dead. He's out.
Okay.
But the next book is called like technically the next book is The End and the Death. It's huge. It's in 3 parts. But there is another novella in between here and there that got released. It's another Garrow Knight, a Knight of Grey.
Oh, yeah.
But in it, and it came out after this book, which came out after the last book, and he goes and fights Mortarion.
What?
So I'm gonna say we skip that because I don't think it makes sense.
Right. What the heck?
It could be set just before Warhawk, I guess, but like, I don't care at that point.
We know what happens to Mortarion.
Yeah,
He gets rope-a-doped.
yeah. So
Okay, so Mortarion's out. Jagatai's out?
yeah, so he's probably dead. I don't want to spoil if he dies for up.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Dawn is stuck in Bab Bastion, surrounded, unable to get into the Imperial Sanctus.
Magnus is
Dead.
dead for all intents and purposes.
Vulcan is
Vulcan lives, but
Vulcan lives, take a shot, but is still walking back to the Emperor. He's in the
he's a
webway.
skeleton man.
He's Skeletor, yeah.
Okay. He's around. That's good.
He's around. Oh, and Gulliman's coming. We finally get word of Gulliman. He's like, I'm a week out. Just hold, brothers,
That's
please.
true. And I'm like, I don't know if they have a week, man. Good luck with that.
A week is a
Week seems like a lot at this point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Gulliman's coming, and Horus's ship. The shields are down. He's like, the Vengeful Spirit. Its shields are down, and they're like, what do you mean down? Like minimal rating? No, they're down. They're entirely down.
Right.
So everyone who knows anything about the Horus Heresy knows what that means, and you'll find out in the next book, because I assume you don't know.
Does it mean you can teleport if your shields are down?
It means you can be teleported onto. Yes.
Ah,
And so,
that's a Star Trek thing.
Well,
Shields have to be down to teleport.
yeah. Well, I don't. It's interesting. I don't know if that's strictly true in 40k. It is and it is and it isn't, depending on like whatever the author wants, I guess.
Right.
Sometimes it's like, are the shields down, or did the ship not have shields? I don't know. It's not always
right.
important, you know.
Got it.
But in this case, Horus deliberately lowers his ship's shields to entice the Emperor to come kill him. Like, but yeah.
But that also, Jubal's shooting at him from the Lion spaceport.
Yep.
Nice. Way to go, Horus. Nailed that one.
Tactical genius, Warmaster of the Imperium. Horus Lupercal lowers the shields.
So is it just like horrifically bad timing? He's like, I'm going to lower the shields. They can't hit me. And then, oh crap, they just figured out how to shoot the guns in the Lion's Gate again, right at the same time.
So,
You know what I mean?
So, how do I how do I explain it without spoiling it? Because I can tell you the reason why it's not an issue, which is basically
I'll just wait then.
yeah, it's not big. It's a tiny thing, I would say.
Okay.
Which is basically, so you know the Emperor and Horus fight, right? Like that's a thing that happens because the Emperor needs to get wounded so he can, not die on the throne for 10,000 years. Basically, as he gets up and goes to fight Horus to teleport on because his shields are down, they're like, hey, please don't shoot at the ship the Emperor's on. And they're like, okay.
Oh.
There you go.
Fine. They did all that work.
Right, there's still a bunch of other ships you can shoot at, though.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad they can actually shoot at something. That's nice.
They shoot at the Conqueror for a bit, and they're like, shield us with our other fleet,
Right. The hundreds of other ships we have.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, good.
All right.
Good. I think we covered everything I wanted to cover.
Uh-huh. I think so, too.
All right, good.
Do you have any predictions for the End and the Death, Volume 1, which we won't be reading this week, next week.
Next week, right.
Yeah. Well, here's the way that works, is we have a week from now to the next podcast where we won't talk about it. So
Yeah.
it'll be 2 weeks from now until we do.
Right.
Yeah. So, any
Right.
predictions?
I mean, we know Horus doesn't win. So that's cool.
Uh-huh. We know the Titanic sinks. Still a good movie.
Yeah, right? We know Gilliman shows up at some point.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I don't know, man. I assume everything gets really, really, really bad, and they almost lose everything, but at the last second they get saved, but everything's so irrevocably destroyed that it doesn't matter. Welcome 40K.
Yeah,
That's
essentially.
generally my broad outline of how this goes down.
Broadly speaking, that's a good way to conclude the End of the Death Volume 3. I was looking for more predictions about Volume 1, where it'll pick up with, like, Basilius Foe.
There's another gate. There's the Perpetuals wander around the palace for a few hours. They get lost. Alfarius calls himself Alfarius 4 more times, and John Grammaticus shoots him in the face.
Fair, all fair.
I don't know, man. A lot of people are dead at this point.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Which it really raises the question of how could this book be so long then if everyone's dead?
That's a good point. We spend a lot of time with Dorn. We just sit in the room with him as he tactically commands the billions of soldiers across Terra. And he talks about how he needs a nap.
Oh, that's funny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
What are you counting?
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 40, maybe somewhere around 45, I gave up counting. Named custodies in this next book.
Oh, okay.
So if you think the last
Okay.
book had a lot of spinning plates, hold on to your butts.
Okay. So, like, it's the Custodes' time to shine. Let's go.
It could be. I mean, the list of Space
Valdor's
Marines.
running around.
The list
Yeah.
of Space Marines, while not longer by any specific legion, in total is longer.
Right.
So hundreds of characters in this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Amit's still running around.
Zephon's still running around.
Zephon's definitely running around. Black Sword guy. What's his name?
Sigismund.
Sigismund's running around. He's
Yeah.
having a great time.
Arkan Land's still there, crying about his monkey. His poor monkey. They killed my monkey.
Sad about his monkey.
They killed my monkey and my friend.
And it's like the most human moment Arkan Land has in the entire series.
And we nearly missed it.
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah,
Dude, there's this great, like, it's funny that the monkey talks in
binary can't.
binary. Yeah, right? So
Yeah.
it can't talk to people, but, like,
It could.
Qatari and robots are cool.
Yeah.
There's that great scene where they're waiting on the wall. I forget exactly how it goes down, but, like, the Qatari's talking to the monkey, and the monkey's like, yeah, something like, tomorrow we'll do this thing. And he's like, do you look like we're going to survive till tomorrow? And the monkey looks out.
At the
and
oncoming
goes,
horde.
No, you're right. We're all going to die. I
Right.
didn't realize the monkey had that kind of intelligence. It was great.
I love that there's a callback to the introduction of Arcane Land and his monkey is there's like some talk about whether or not monkeys had a tail that was prehensile and used for grabbing things, or if it was a tail like a scorpion used for stabbing things. And this monkey has a scorpion tail. Arcane,
So
despite all his genius, gave his monkey a scorpion tail. Which,
It's ancient history, dude. What's he supposed to know?
feature or bug?
Right. Well, and the monkey saves his life, too. He's, like, alone on this battlefield. Random Astartes keep showing up and, like, trying to kill him. And monkey goes and gets help. It's great.
Yeah, I
Come
love.
back with Zephon? Who does he grab?
He comes back with the
Somebody.
skit. He comes back with T.
Just the skit, though? I thought
Yeah,
there
because the
was-
monkey like tells the skit how to use the pistol, like his Archaeotech pistol that can disintegrate people. And like, there's a bit from her perspective, and she's like, "What is going on? I'm stuck in the greatest war ever. I'm dragging a man who's like the foremost genius of our time, wielding a weapon out of myth and legend. Like, what
Yeah,
happened in
and
the
there's
last?
a monkey riding on my shoulder.
Right.
Yeah. Ah, monkey's dead. That made me sad. Monkey didn't do anything wrong.
Nope.
No. Tragic.
Tragic.
Wind and Truth is good.
Yeah. What's
I do want to say,
What's the plot of the Stormlight Archives? Like, what are the last 4 books before this, like, broadly speaking?
so there's a world called Roshar.
Rosha, okay?
It's a land where there are constant, incredibly dangerous, powerful thunderstorms.
Okay.
They call them high storms. They roll through, and if you're outside, you die. Like, it will blow you away or hit you with a flying rock or something, and you're toast, right?
Okay.
So everything's stone because the wind blows away, has blown away. Like, you just can't
Build out of anything
grow
else.
trees or anything out in this land, right?
Right.
So the concept is that there is a war going on this world between a It's basically a medieval era society,
Mm-hmm.
and they're fighting against these kind of native population people
Okay.
called the Parshendi.
So,
Anyway, it's about their war.
when you say
Yeah.
native, are they native as in like they're aliens or native from like another continent?
The human characters are basically colonizers.
Okay.
Like they showed up at some point, maybe a couple hundred years ago, and these people predate them.
From another continent?
Nope. Another
Ma-
world.
Another magic realm kind of thing, or
Yeah.
they don't. They're not spacefaring, but like from another world.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Right. So, I mean, long story short, the main character's name is Kaladin. He is part of a bridge crew. So during this war, there are these giant chasms. You're basically fighting from plateau to plateau.
Mm-hmm.
So they have what are called bridge crews. They have these prefabricated bridges. You haul the bridge across the plateau, throw it down so your soldiers can go across it to fight at the next plateau.
Mm.
And the bridge crew are basically slaves. They're not treated well, et cetera, et cetera. And Kaladin's part of that group. He is intentionally left outside during a high storm to die because he fought against his bridge crew commander.
Okay.
But instead, he's fine at the end of it, and it turns out he has powers. So,
Okay.
kind of his story, like coming to terms with developing those powers. And from there, it just expands. You just have the complete explosion of other people discover that they can do this too.
Okay.
And then there's a big bad that shows up. I don't know. That's the basic idea behind the whole thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was gonna say is there's this weird part in like the first 20 pages of this book
Mm-hmm.
where there are two characters that have been around since the first book,
Mm-hmm.
and it said like they're gonna go meet with somebody else, right? So they're
Right.
in this marketplace and like they pick up some supplies, and then the line says, and then they went to do something else. And then they continued on to go meet with, this person in the tower. And I'm like, what?
What?
Why? What?
What
Why
did
is
they
that
else-
so non-specific?
So they went and did something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I don't...
We don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Huh.
It's a weird... I want to say it's a mistake, but it's not exactly a mistake. It's not like it's a grammatical problem, right?
Right.
It's not like it's a misspelled word, but it is such a nothing sentence that doesn't need to be there.
Right. Yeah, you feel like that it's setting up for like a flashback of the thing that they went and did.
Yes, totally. Like, because I've seen this in books before, right? Where their memory's been messed with, right? So they're recalling events, and all of a sudden, their recollection gets really non-specific and vague, right? And then that's how they realize, like, oh, okay, I'm missing something about what I did here. I have to investigate that. That's what it feels like.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's been like 150 pages since then, and they haven't gone back to it at all. And I really don't think it matters.
Oh,
It just really struck me.
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's lazy at the best. Like the best possible option here is that it's lazy.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Let me
Yeah,
see if I can.
Take a screenshot.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the actual. Man, he says the word something a lot in these books.
Well, ain't that something?
Mm-hmm. And it's just weird because he's spent, I think 4 years on this book. And I'm sure he had armies of people looking it over.
You're going to be 65 by the time the last book comes out. Good grief.
I think I will.
How old is Brandon Sanderson? Is this another
I think he's
Um,
my age.
George R. R. Martin?
He's not that old.
Well, by the
So
last
Martin's
book.
not dead. Huh?
By the time he's getting to the last book,
I don't know. Depends on how long he takes on every book.
4 years, and they're only going to get bigger. I've looked at the trend for the last 5.
I mean,
He's gonna
that
be
is the trend.
he's gonna be in his 80s for the last book. If it's a 4-year turnaround per book, and he's got 5 more to go.
So it's for 5 more books.
Well, he's 5 books into a 10-book series.
Yeah. So this is the 5th one.
Oh, so yeah, 5 books. 6,
Yeah,
7, 8,
so 5
9, 10.
more.
Yeah, 5 more.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
20 years.
Yeah.
That's assuming he doesn't decide to write anything else while in the meantime.
Right.
Which I assume he has
Which
done.
he does.
Yeah.
All the time. Right. I mean, I think he's got an army of grad students that he uses to help
Okay.
write, but even then, God, I can't find it. I'll look for it later. Doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anywho, it's good. It's good to be back with the characters, and yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Okay, good. Let's wrap it up.
We'll wrap it up. Put a bow on it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So thanks everyone for hanging out for another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour with Somicron and Falcon Paladin here at twitch.tv/Somicron. Toss us a follow, toss us a sub out here if you want. You can also watch at youtube.com/@Somicron if you prefer that platform. You can support the podcast by going to falconpaladin.store and buying merch, or patreon.com/Somicron and pledging out there. That specifically does support the podcast alone. And until next time, as always, thanks for being here. No Warhammer next week. Maybe there will be some Stormlight Archive. We'll have other stuff to talk about. But until then, you take care of yourself. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.